here in France to talk us through how the press here is covering it. We're joined on set by Florence Villeminot.
Morning, Helen.
Morning to you. Flo. Papers very much dominated by this continued social unrest against the government's labour reform. And yesterday, demonstrations, of course, marked by violence.
That's right. Le Parisien is quite alarmed by recent events. Let's take a look at the front page of Aujourd'hui en France, Le Parisien. You can see it's talking about how the situation is explosive. This can't go on. This is a message for everyone, all sides. It's time to calm down. Aujourd'hui en France, in its editorial, says, what is it going to take to stop this very tense situation that we're living here in France? Is it going to take perhaps the death of a demonstrator or something like that? Let's not go that far. You can see this is the title of their editorial. Pause. It's time for everyone to take a time out, cool down, and find a real peaceful solution. That goes for the government, that goes for the trade unions, that goes for the protesters. Everyone needs to calm down.
OK, well, Libération is now wondering just what form any solution could take.
That's right. Let's take a look at the front page of Libé today. You can see they're talking about c'est par où la sortie? Where in the world is the exit to this crisis? Now, inside, Libé focuses on what the government is doing here. The government has been talking quite tough, saying, it's not going to back down to the pressure from the streets. But according to Libé, the Élysée is actually hesitating between two ways forward, essentially. On the one hand, there are calls to, be even more firm, push this controversial law even further. You also have people that are calling for there to be some amendments to essentially kind of improve the law, make some concessions. What is the future of the text? That's what Libé wants to know. In the meantime, the president seems quite indecisive about everything, and this double speak coming from his entourage is sending quite mixed and confusing messages. And if we take a look at an article in Le Figaro today, it echoes this. It's talking about how the Prime Minister, Manuel Valls, has really cast a doubt and confused a lot of MPs in Parliament who are already quite annoyed that he rammed this controversial law through Parliament using the 49.3, that loophole in the Constitution that allows the government to do that. A growing number of MPs who initially supported the law are now saying it needs to be amended to appease this very tense situation that we're living here and essentially to get out of this trap that the government's fallen into.
Now, Flo, you've pulled out a few cartoons for us depicting this whole volatile situation and the growing concern about that fuel crisis as well.
That's right. Let's take a look at these cartoons. You can see on the left here, there's a cartoon from Libé. It's saying that France is asphyxiated by the strike, so that means that we're going to run out of Molotov cocktails.
Not a bad idea,
Probably
really.
not a bad idea. In the middle there, you have a cartoon from La Croix. You can see that endless cycle of going to the gas station to fill up and, turning right back around and going again. Then you have L'Humanité, that's the communist paper that's taking this opportunity to lash out against fat cat business owners. You can see a business owner there in that car. The chauffeur is saying, you're going to have to continue by foot because we're out of gas. And the fat cat there is saying, criminals.
Yes, well, let's stay with L'Humanité, of course. That was the communist paper, one of the few papers that people could actually buy yesterday at the newsstands.
Right. This is an incredible story. This is the CGT, so that trade union that's been driving the protest movement. It actually prevented the publication of newspapers that refused to print an opinion piece by the CGT leader, Philippe Martinez. This was a piece in which he was calling for the labor law to be abandoned. They essentially shut off printing presses and distributions for all papers except for L'Humanité, which decided to print the article. And this is an article that appeared in the paper today where it's justifying why its decision. It's saying, well, of course, naturally, we're going to be, support this protest movements. But other people were less thrilled, to say the least. A lot of people were saying that essentially the CGT is pressuring the media. It's holding the media hostage. You have, for instance, Laurent Geoffrin. He's the editor of Libération. He said that we have never published a communiqué under pressure. We never will. You had Nicolas Beytour. He's the owner of L'Opinion. He was even harsher. He said this is an attack on democracy. Now, there was an upside to all this, and that's that for readers, they could read all the newspapers for free online.
Well, that's certainly an upside. It's certainly not the most brilliant strategy, annoying the press. They're not really getting them on side, are they? Let's finish up with a spat of a different kind, one from the footballing world. And French footballer Eric Cantona has now taken a jab the coach of the national team.
That's right, Didier Deschamps. Let's take a look. It all started with this article in The Guardian. We rarely talk about The Guardian in the French press review, but here it is. Essentially, you can see this article sums it up. Eric Cantona believes that Didier Deschamps may have left some of the players off the team because of their race. Very controversial comments. Now, he's talking about Karim Benzema and Atem Ben Arfa. Essentially, Benzema won't be participating in the Euro Cup because he's involved in this weird, legal action for his alleged involvement in a sex tape scandal. And Ben Arfa has actually been named a standby player. So he is potentially going to be on the squad. But this is an incredible piece. And you could, to quote the piece, it says, Benzema is a great player, Ben Arfa is a great player, but Deschamps, he has a really French name. Maybe he's the only one in France to have a truly French name. So really incredible comments. Yes. Where is this coming from? Well, you have to know that the two men don't really like each other. And you can read more about that in L'Équipe, the sports daily. It says that, the spat between Cantona and Didier Deschamps has been going on for just about 20 years now. This after Didier Deschamps took Eric Cantona's place as captain on the French team. You can see them here playing against each other. Now, Deschamps has not responded publicly to this pretty incredible article, but privately he's fuming, and you can read about it here in L'Équipe. He didn't like it one bit, and he's planning a counterattack, possibly legal action against Cantona.
Oh, something to definitely keep an eye on then. Thanks for that, Flo. Flora's, of course, back with us about 9:15 to take us through the international press. Do stay with us, though. You are watching France 24. Lots more news still to come.